Dustborn would be a hilarious disaster if the European Union didn't use our taxes to make it.
Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So today we're going to be once again talking about Dustborn, which I know a lot of you guys enjoy because watching this hilarious downfall of this game is something very satisfying to see. But today we're going to be going over some new developments regarding the actual team behind Dustborn, who has come out to condemn the tidal wave of abuse and hate they have been facing since the launch of this game.
Obviously. But on the bright side, I can bet that every single person on this team is a woke lunatic whose expiration date is probably in the next 5 years because of self-choices.
Of course, they are trying to change what is actually happening here, and that is a wave of fair criticism, and they are now trying to liken it to a
fair? I don't even care that it's fair.
Tidal wave of hate and abuse in an attempt to downplay their own responsibility in the failure of this game. Now, before we look at the statement from the developers, as always, it is the end of the month, so my code at AdvancedGG is now boosted to 20% through today and tomorrow night. Use code REV to save 20% off your total AdvancedGG order. You can use that on many different lines of my collection over AdvancedGG, including the new plastic shaker I got there, also my new...
Damn, that's one hell of a shaker, okay.
Flavor jar right there, as you can see, green tea lemonade. I know a lot of you guys enjoy that, so those are there. You can also check out...
The hell is green tea lemonade? How do you make tea into lemonade? You just add bubbles to it and call it a day?
Everything else on the website and on my page with the link in the description and the pinned comment, and make sure to use code REV at checkout for 20% off your order. Now let's return to Dustborn. Now, of course, this game has been labeled the wokest game ever, and that is a title.
And that is for good reason, okay? There is another game that's pretty close to this, honestly, but I think this currently takes the cake.
It definitely earned, because the entire game is trying to use words as weapons, and when you are confronted with
triggered. This does not get funny.
Microaggressions from your enemies, you can use your trigger function to get back at them, and if that doesn't work, you can use another function of the game, and that...
We've learned how to cancel someone. Cancel allow us to isolate people from their friends and compatriots in battle. This could be a useful tool against enemies. They're just saying out the quiet part loud now, huh?
That is canceling them. Yes, canceling your enemies. So it's not much of a surprise that this game was an absolute failure. It was released...
The best part about the insane woke crowd and all the insane leftists is the fact that they're just gonna say that they want this, but there you go. Someone actually makes this. And who's playing this? No one. No one.
It's about a week and a half ago. All-time peak of 76, can barely keep a few dozen players in game.
People who say Biden has his mental faculties in check and is sharp don't even play this game because they're not that stupid.
Game right now, and honestly, a lot of the little breath of new life here is largely from people playing this game. It's somewhat of a new trend where people are playing Dustborn just to clown on it. Yeah, that is a humiliating existence where a portion of your small fan base and player base is people making fun of you and games journalists trying desperately to prop you up.
Beautiful.
But now we have a statement from Red Thread Games, the development team. They have said this, a message from Red Thread to our community.
I think I saw
as many
this.
People clowned on them for, what community are you talking about? There's only a few dozen people playing the game right now, and as others have suggested, why don't you just send them a DM or something? Like, I feel like you could just do that instead of making a public statement. But anyways, let's read what they had to say. To our community, since we first announced Dustborn, we've read your comments and listened to your feedback, hopes and wishes for the game.
That's a mistake. You don't listen to this feedback. They're insane.
Over the past 4 years, our team has poured their...
Can you imagine how bad the smell must be of people who unironically think this game is good?
...hearts into telling a story that's deeply meaningful to us. A story about the power of words, about building...
A story about being able to cancel people. Now, admittedly, that is definitely meaningful to them. Sadly, it's going bye-bye.
...world where everyone can feel safe about love, friendships, and robots, of course. So this whole thing is really funny about the power of words as weapons and all those things. I will remind you that this game was quite literally made out of TDS, Trump Derangement Syndrome. the 2016 election made these developers so angry that they literally made this game as a coping mechanism for that. But let's focus on some of the
Wait, that is true. He's not even lying. It's actually how they... This is literally what they did.
things they're saying, right? They worked on this game with their heart and soul for 4 years. Wow, so much dedication. Well, one of the most noteworthy reactions to this game since its release is claims that they were literally copying and pasting GTA Online assets into their game. There's pretty convincing evidence for that. And that claim that they were copying and pasting pre-existing assets is even...
Oh my, if this is true, dude, Rockstar is not gonna hesitate to sue them.
even more frustrating when you realize they were given a massive grant from the government. They got 150,000 euros to produce this game because nobody with their right mind and someone who's an individual investor would want to give any money to a project like this. So somehow they can still trick the government into giving taxpayer dollars.
This is why we hate this stuff, okay? Because it does shit like this, okay?
To fund this game. On top of that, you see this whole language here about love, friendships, and robots. I have a section right here, this clip that really has been going viral on Twitter. This really sums up the game. Okay, it sums up all those three things I just mentioned. And this is a scene where the supposedly likable main protagonist is approached by a helpful and innocent robot who's just trying to help. And this is her...
You see, the gender of the robot was wrong. That's why help cannot be accepted. Look at that male gaze. I can already see it. Oh, it's disgusting. I want to puke.
reaction and your forced reaction as a player.
Oh, hello.
Hey, what's the golem doing on the bus?
Ma'am, I'll be happy to serve as your driver.
Did she just mispronounce the robot's gender? Also, please, that chair is not gonna hold for long. I mean, let's be realistic here. Also, yeah, of course they're all fat.
I want to assure you that I'm fully capable of operating this vehicle. I don't mean that you have software, of course. You lack the paperwork, but I don't need any.
I'm not going to be mean to it.
What?
I don't know if there's a way through, though.
Don't touch me.
Hey!
What was that?
Well, if this is not the most classic real-life thing ever, the robot's not even trying to touch her.
Again, adding to the humiliation of this game, the only things you see on social media coming from this game are clips showing how bad this game is and people clowning on it. That is a really bad state of affairs for this game. But anyways, let's continue in the statement. It says, we expected Dustborn to spark conversation and debate and look forward to engaging with our players.
Why? What? Just saying that sentence alone means that you don't want to make a game. You just want to make a political statement. That's all. That's all that you're saying. And you don't want conversation because conversation currently is being had, and everyone hates your side because it's absolutely brain damaged. You just wanted to push a message that everyone needs to agree with. This was never about conversation. It never is.
In a positive and constructive fashion. Unfortunately, that conversation...
They always lie like this. Positivity, conversation, blah, blah, blah. No, this is not about that. This is about accepting your views as right and everything else is wrong, even though your views are completely incongruent and they go against each other in a lot of situations.
Conversation has been drowned out by a tidal wave of hate and abuse. It's always a harassment campaign with people like this, isn't it? This game has been rightfully facing a lot of criticism because the game itself is really bad. In fact, it's so bad, it feels like it's a parody. Honestly, I do believe this with my heart of hearts.
No.
If this game was
This is real.
produced as a parody of cancel culture, I think it would have been really well received because it's that ridiculous. It's so over the top with cancel culture and the power of words and all those things. It seems like a parody, and if it was marketed that way, I think it would have been really well received and people would have thought it was a really funny game. But that's not how this game was made. It was...
Yeah, because these people don't live real life. They do. This is their real life. And does it make sense? No, it does not at any level. But they think it's somehow magic. I really don't understand how these people can wake up and even live at this point.
made unironically with concepts like canceling and bullying people for different opinions.
You learn to bully people. Bully gives us the power to force people to do something they may not want to do, or to make them feel bad about themselves. In fights, this could be highly effective on targeted enemies. So they're literally, again, they're just saying the quiet part out loud. Bullying, canceling is all good. These are things that hurt other people, but we're gonna do it because it makes them accept us no matter what. That's one hell of a message.
As a sort of positive way to combat people. It's totally insane. But let's continue on. It says, we welcome thoughtful feedback and respectful criticism. We embrace
So they just want praise and adoration for whatever the fuck they did.
discussion and debate, but we have a zero tolerance policy for hate speech, harassment, and threats of any kind. Those who engage in,
As Asmongold would say, anyone who disagrees me is harassing me. So there you go. This is pretty much that.
such behavior will be removed from our community. So first of all, you see this first part here about welcoming thoughtful feedback and respectful criticism. How are you supposed to do that? This thread is literally locked. You can't reply to this post. You can only quote it and make fun of it through that avenue.
Nice.
But you can't even leave a thoughtful reply because they locked your ability to do so. If this doesn't sum up the hypocrisy of these people trying to have mindful discussions, I don't know what else would. But on top of that, we're talking about the safe space and how harassment, all these negative things won't be tolerated. We saw many people bring up tweets from one of the game designers at Red Thread.
Holy, look at this picture. That tells you everything you want to know. Also, gay agenda connoisseur. Of course. Which man would be this desperate?
Games, who not only was trying to shame others for doing regular crowdfunding while boasting about the fact that they got government funding, they also said a lot of disparaging things about men, for example. Why would men feel like they are welcomed in this community when you have a person working on the game who's saying stuff like this? A person who
Do you want to bet she turned into a lesbian after every man rejected her? Because that's actually a very, very typical story.
also tries to reiterate over and over again that gamers don't know what they want and they know better than the gamers themselves. In fact, they go even further, saying that they're going to place themes and various other aspects into games that they know will trigger parts of the fan base. They're literally putting things into games out of spite for gamers. This is the kind of
What a wonderful person. I hope she finds a person as wonderful as her. And then inevitably we will hear about a double or triple lesbian homicide in the news, which is going to be hilarious.
stuff that's supposed to be representative of the community. Wouldn't this be one of the people you're trying to get out? No, of course not, because it's one of you. It's one of people who fulfill and share a similar agenda with you. So you allow these things to exist and have no comment about it whatsoever. On top of that, let's continue and finish up this statement. It says, to everyone else, thank you for coming on this journey with us. Your support means everything, and your constructive feedback continues to push us to learn and evolve. Together, let's continue building a world where everyone can feel valued and empowered to share their stories. Well, as long as those values and stories have the same agenda as yours. And also thanking the community. Well, I'm glad, I'm sure the 12 people are very happy about this statement right now. But as you can see, people are dunking on this. That has almost twice as many quotes as likes, and that's also part of the
By the way, the election is close, so Twitter is full of bots. Man, I have seen so many pro-Democrat Twitter accounts that are fresh, have 200, 400k followers, and get like 50 views a post. It's beautiful. It's hilarious.
function of locking the replies, so you almost make it worse for yourself because now people are going to quote instead of reply in the.
But Dems, please, you tried to buy TikTokers. I'm for sale. I won't even betray you. I support the current thing 100%. Just pay me.
Quotes get more signal boosting than a regular reply. It's just so backwards. Like they have no idea what they're doing. Now, this is a situation where I think we're looking at the swan song of this game. They're typing this like a eulogy, like they're packing it up. The game's only been out for about a week, but this is a game that is trying to glorify concepts like cancel culture, and we've seen how that's gone. Supporting that stuff blows up in your face. Let's see a different example where cancel culture backfired in real time.
What is
so
this?
We're going to talk about this game called Soulash 2. Now, this game has gotten a lot of attention recently. It is a self-described sandbox RPG roguelike. Now, this game and its developer, Artur, were getting a lot of feedback recently, some positive and some unhinged hate as well. Now, why is that happening? Well, about 2 weeks ago, there were some reviews and questions left on the Steam page for this game, where one individual asked, hey, Artur, can you basically explain if there'll ever be a possibility of same-sex relations?
I'm a queer fan of your game. Oof, that means there is absolutely no want to play the game even.
Relationships in Soulash 2. And the developer would reply saying the main purpose of the family system is to create a legacy through children, and given our limited ways to interact with NPCs, I don't think there's a good way to represent relationships, so I don't plan to expand that right now. And they go on to say in this quote right here and also in other tweets that basically trying to add in this option not only kind of goes against the intended purpose of what the game's supposed to be doing, but also it just complicates it. They would have to literally rework multiple systems in the
Well, that is extremely bigoted because obviously men can get pregnant.
game just to add this option. So it was an apolitical decision. It was not something made to exclude people or show hatred towards certain people. It was an apolitical decision that made sense for the direction of the game and also the time of the developers, who really don't have the resources or time to go in and rework essentially all the systems in the game to accommodate this additional option. But of course, people saw this and they started a hate brigade on this developer. And you can see right here, in the days after the comment was made, they got review bombed. And this is a pretty significant amount of negative reviews.
Yeah, this is pretty bad for an indie game on Steam.
For a smaller developer. This actually can leave quite a sting and a bad impression of this game. And you can see some of these unhinged reviews. You can pause and read for yourself. I'm
The hell is this? This is like a paragraph of stupidity, probably, huh?
not trying to pad watch.
I had high hopes for the future development of this game, as it appears to have great potential. Unfortunately, I can't recommend to support this game while its developer is signaling a racist and anti-LGBTQ politics in its design choices. I support that. It seems to me fairly simple to unlock the marriage system to allow players to form interracial or same-sex marriages with NPCs there. Okay. Yeah, well, hey, good.
Time right now. But you can see they're calling them all kinds of terrible, hateful things for not including this option in the game. And now you can see that
planting your feet on this choice is a clear middle finger. Good.
this has been updated and people have responded to the situation. You can see the clown emoji.
There is no such thing as people just randomly deserving respect, adoration, acceptance, and everything. It doesn't exist. You should never give people that for free.
You're getting 62 upvotes here, but this person would add an update to their statement saying, I have reached out to Artur to try and reach an understanding, and this prompted him to go on an unhinged nationalist rant on Twitter.
Ooh, nationalist. But what if he's Muslim?
Okay, let's see what they're talking about here. So first of all, Artur saying stuff like this, they're so mad at me for adding legacy through children to my multi-generational sandbox game. And that's really what we're talking about here, okay? People calling him a bigot and all these terrible, awful things because of this. This is what it is.
Well, we obviously know that they're gonna lie about it, so... I mean, the first thing when you hear about something like bigotry and racism, you instantaneously assume it's not true because these people are insane. Anyway, that was RevSev's Desu. Bye-bye.